welcome to another series of Inspire. We are across the globe today with Gemma Polimeni from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, Gemma.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It is fabulous. You are our first guest, as we say here, down under, and so happy to have you. And so you've been with SeneGence now for over 8 years. Is that correct?
That is correct. And it still blows my mind because honestly, I don't stick at anything.
Well, we're so happy that you are sticking with us at SeneGence. And how did you first find SeneGence?
Yeah, so it was actually after having my second child. So I went back to work part-time, and I worked for the Australian government. And actually, a lot of people know this, but Jackie Burns was actually my team leader in that space. And I remember rocking up to work one day and she had this little toolbox full of lip scents. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And she's like, oh, here, you got to try it and take it home and, you know, give it a whirl. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went home and I tried on this lip scents and I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. And I said to my husband, I think I'm just going to sign up. And he's like, oh, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, yes, I am. So the next day I went to work and I said to Jackie, I'll sign up. So funnily enough, I never purchased from her. I just became her downline almost immediately.
Almost immediately. And so here we are 8 years later. You say you don't stick with things, but obviously there's something that's keeping you here at SeneGence besides our incredible products.
Sure.
You know, 8 years later, what excites you? What fuels you with your SeneGence business?
Yeah, it's definitely number one is the Sene Sisters. That I don't think will ever change. Our corporate team in Brisbane are just like family, and also just making women feel amazing. And I did have one customer a few years ago now. She actually called me crying because, you know, the skincare had just made such a change to her and she'd battled with her skin her whole life. And I said, just trust the process, trust me, and just give it a try. And she did, and the results were amazing. And yeah, I don't think you could put a price on that.
I think that is absolutely priceless. And what a nice testament to the customer service that you provide and just the products in general and our skincare. A lot of people probably watching. Do you know this, Gemma? A lot of people, some haven't even tried our skincare yet. Do you know that? I know. Crazy.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of scary to me because I look back on photos of 8 years ago and I'm like, thank you, SeneGence.
Right. So if you haven't tried our skincare yet, maybe you know, add to cart.
Don't be a fool. Try it.
Yeah. So and so you have built your own Sene Sister community. I know that Inner Circle sponsoring is a big deal to you. And as we're here in the month of September, can you share a couple of tips that you do month in and month out and year over year to make sure that you have a successful sponsoring month? What does that look like for you in your business?
I just don't give people the choice. I'm like, you're signing up. Like this is just how it's supposed to be because the customers are already buying from me. So I'm like, you have a shop where you can buy products at 50% off. Like you don't get that anywhere. Like we can cater for everyone, you know, kids, children, husbands. I mean, the dog, you can use the body wash on your dog. Like there is something for everyone. And also just reaching out and making sure that you maintain those customers and the relationships, because sometimes people drop off and I've sort of thought, you know, maybe they feel bad that they've dropped off, but you don't need to feel bad. And I think that's the beauty of SeneGence. And that's what I say. There is no pressure. There's no auto ships. There's no funny little, you know, things that you need to worry about. It's like sign up, do what you want, build a business or don't. And I think relieving that pressure for people and them knowing that they can run their business their own way, I think that's, as I say, the beauty of SeneGence.
Absolutely. And how many times do you hear somebody that said, well, I just joined for the discount. I'm, you know, even yourself, you're like, I'm not going to do anything. And here we are, you know, one of the highest realms, if not the highest realm in Australia. And circle this and inner circle that. And you're going to be attending leaders here in a little bit. So
yes.
why is it important for you to attend things like Leaders and Seminar?
Just to, relight your fire. And once you're there, you just become so inspired and so empowered. And, you kind of need those events along the way. Well, I personally do, again, for the Center Sister connections and, the corporate staff connections and all of that. Yeah.
It does light the fire. So speaking of that, when you look forward to the next 8 years, when you started, your children were toddlers, and now they're
Yes.
entering in their preteens. As
Yep.
as your business is growing, your family is evolving and changing. How do you see the flexibility and the lifestyle of SeneGence growing with you in the next 8 years?
Well, yeah, I think the flexibility is a big one for me, because again, those that know me know I have a pretty heavy social schedule. So and couple that with my day job. I run the canteen for my daughter's netball club, so I'm busy. So I think just having the flexibility of SeneGence, and I love that my daughter watches me. Like, she can't sometimes mocks me, and she's mocks me like if I'm going live, and she'd be like, hey, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Lacey, you're hilarious. So I would love her to sort of just continue watching what I do and running a business, because I think that's really good for your children to see that you work hard and the results speak for themselves, really.
Absolutely. Well, Gemma, thank you so much for being an inspiration over all of these years across the globe for all of us, and continued success these next 8 years and beyond. We are so thrilled to have you part of the SeneGence family. Thank you for inspiring.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Gemma.